place like Homaha. I'm your host, JD Wonder, alongside my co-host, Nick Hendricks and Mikey Love. We are sponsored. Mikey's wearing our sponsor by Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, unofficially sponsored.
Lie to people like that again and see where you're at next episode, bud.
Got him.
Just for fair warning, in case anybody hasn't found out, Mikey is cranky today. So the love
You made
doctor
him
is not
cranky.
really feeling the
Yeah,
love.
I'm
Bro,
cranky
he was
because-
cranky before
That's
you
your
got on.
fault. You come in. Is everybody ready to record today?
Trying to talk all seductively, trying to turn me on. Instead, piss me off.
You bring me here and come, dude. All right.
In here trying to make me pop a chubber
Horny jail.
and more
Immediately.
masturbation.
Let's
March.
bonk. Bonk.
Immediately jail.
I mean,
Immediately.
right off the bat, diving into now baseball.
Right off the rip.
We got since we missed last week, happens, schedules, whatever. We got a new
schedule.
top 25 after a wild weekend of a lot of upsets, a lot of shakeup, especially even within the top 10 alone. Right now, according to Baseball America, and if one of you other wants to pull up D1 baseball, if that's a little different, but I think they're about the same. We got Arkansas at number 1, LSU falling at number 2, Duke in this one falling at number 3, Oregon State falling at number 4, Texas A&M number 5, Tennessee number 6, Wake Forest number 7. I know that to be true on both charts. 8 is Vanderbilt, 9 Clemson, 10 Florida, 11 TCU, 12 South Carolina, 13 East Carolina, 14 North Carolina, 15 Virginia, 16 NC State, 17 Auburn, 18 Alabama, 19 UC Irvine, 20 Dallas Baptist, 21 Florida State, 22 Coastal Carolina, 23 Texas, 24 Texas Tech, 25 the Campbell Camels.
Where
Baseball
is
has
my
this completely
ultimate
mixed up.
Lions?
D1
That is
baseball
according
has
to
this
Baseball
all mixed
America.
up.
That is according to Baseball America. You can pull up the D1. Do you have D1 baseball ready?
I do have D1 baseball ready.
All
We
right.
can rally off
Let's
right
set
through
up.
this. So starting off from 1 through 10, going in numerical order, we got Arkansas taking the number 1 spot, LSU, Oregon State, Texas A&M, TCU, Duke at 6, Wake Forest at 7, Florida, Vanderbilt, Clemson to round out the top 10. Going down from 11 to 20, you got East Carolina, TCU, NC State, Bama, North Carolina at 15, Coastal there at 16, Virginia, Auburn, Dallas Baptist hits 19, South Carolina at 20, and then you go all the way down from 21 to 25 in numerical order, as always. Campbell, the Fighting Camels, UC Irvine hops in, Texas, Texas Tech, and then the good old Gauchos, UC Santa Barbara, round out the top 25 there, which honestly is a 9-5 team. A lot of questioning there by the good old committee, but at the same time, I'll give everybody this. Texas is still in the top 25 at a 9-6 record, but that was after beating a ranked Texas Tech team. I haven't looked at UC Santa Barbara's schedule to see if they have any ranked wins. And Mikey's still sad because Old Dominion is not getting the recognition that has not even been earned yet. So
I would say that Creighton baseball has a better record than Texas right now. They're not ranked, so I mean,
Dude, Nick is
say what you will. Say what you
knob.
will. I think that's rigged. I think that Nick paid the committee to put Texas on the board.
Without a doubt.
I don't even have enough money to pay the committee to do
I don't.
We
Maybe you
didn't say
paid him in
paid
PP
them in
touches.
money,
Who knows?
bud.
Who knows? I'm just saying. I'm just stating facts.
You get one wife. No, one PP touch.
All along the lines, though, we do see a lot of similarities. Still the same general teams being in that top 25. I think that Duke definitely proved something this weekend, upsetting Wake Forest in a 2 out of 3 series. But again, we said the same thing about LSU last year, getting upset in those midweeks and dropping some series early on that they, fell from that number 1 spot. And I feel like that's, a really praised position, but it's always so vulnerable.
A team that really has been struggling with midweek, and I'll throw it to Duke real quick because we talked about this in the first episode that this Blue Devils baseball team was going to be kind of a juggernaut coming into this ACC schedule. I mean, you got conference play kicking off against the number 1 team in the country. You steal 2 wins from them. And now you kind of got a chip on your shoulder coming into the rest of ACC play. Can they keep this heat up? Is Wake Forest going to kind of bounce back? The offense exploded for Duke this weekend, and that was the biggest downfall that you saw out of Wake Forest. His pitching was just not on key where it normally has been. But I think one team that you really want to talk about struggles in midweek games and has been hitting the struggle bus fast has been Florida. The Gators have just not been on par. They've dropped a couple of midweek games here and there. Caglione is still doing fairly decent, but I mean, the Gators need to look out and pick it up going through the rest of this, because I'm pulling up their schedule right now at a full 10-5. They're on a 1-game win streak, but they ended up taking a loss to Stetson back in February, come out with a big series win over Miami, and then you drop another midweek game on a Wednesday to UCF. St. Mary's, you take an L in the middle of that series, and now you got Florida State coming up, which is going to be a hot team. They're 14-0 on the year, and then you come out into the SEC schedule with Texas A&M, who is 16-0 and honestly could potentially make their spot for the number 1 pick if Arkansas falls. Because I mean, if you don't put a 16-0 team, if Texas A&M continues to go unbeaten, if you don't put this Aggies team in that top spot or within the top 3, questions are going to be raised, because A&M has been just absolutely performing this year.
Questions should already be raised because the Old Dominion Lions aren't in there. The same.
Another big one to kind of look at too is, I mean, we got a lot of familiar faces up in there, but we got some teams that, you know, are usually questionable every year, such as like, you know, Dallas Baptist or East Carolina. What's striking to me is that there are no, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but there are no Big Ten teams.
There are not.
We talked about early in the season, talking about that Iowa team. Again, hit some sputters early on, but I don't know if it's, you know, not strength of schedule, if they're not doing well all around. We know that Northwestern is not doing well because it's just a tough look all around. We should actually, one of you guys, one of you look up Northwestern, the other one look up Iona. We need to check in on our boys.
Northwestern had won like freaking, I thought it was like 3 games already.
Did they already? We got to check in
did.
on the boys though. We got to make sure if they're bouncing back, then look at Northwestern to take the Big Ten. I mean, worst to first if I've ever seen it.
Pretty sure Nebraska was picked to
win the Big Ten. I mean, they are playing some competitive ball early on. But again, they just have the falters just like they did last season, where it seems like they can't really either close out series or they just can't even close out games. Seems like a lot of times they let guys kind of, you know, hang in there. One game that I point out that's similar to how Nebraska plays is there's a game that Texas and Texas Tech played this weekend, and Texas Tech was pulling ahead strong. I mean, they had like 4 home runs through 6 innings, and Texas came back to win that game and win the series against them. So I think that's just something that needs to be said for some of those teams to be able to just put those games away, right? They need to have either an established back half of the bullpen or just continue, you know, keep your foot on the throttle, not coast off of those long balls.
Well, looking at Iowa's schedule here, I mean, they've had a little bit of a tough going to start off the way that it has been so far this season for Iowa. The Hawkeyes currently sit at a record of 7-8. They're on a 1-game losing streak, but I mean, a 2-game losing streak after losing the series to Ole Miss and then Jackson State as well. They got Georgia coming up here now, and I think that's the biggest thing is Iowa's bullpen has really fell off, and their main starter, number 1 Friday night guy, got tagged up a little bit by the Ole Miss batting, I would say, just barrage, because Ole Miss has been raking balls across the yard. I mean, it's such a fun lineup to watch another year in a row when you got the Showers coming up in right field and you got the young guys for the Rebs doing what they do. But Iowa just needs to step it up and continue to get there offensively. I mean, anytime that they're losing games, the run production is down. I mean, in their last loss one of their losses against Ole Miss, it was 5 runs, 3 runs. Then they come in 4. They ended up beating Jackson State 20-1 and then lose the series 6-1 on the final on Sunday. And now coming up against Georgia, who is normally known for their starting rotation, that's going to be huge for Iowa to see if they can be able to get a bounce back. And then they got Western Illinois to close out the weekend.
Yeah, they've had really tough beginning of the season. Um, I'm just completely I mean, like, I'm not completely baffled because the Big Ten in baseball is never going to be like the SEC or the ACC. Like, those are pretty competitive conferences. If you notice, every single year, those conferences have at least like 5 teams that are represented in the postseason alone.
SEC damn near has their whole conference in there.
Pretty
So
much.
if you guys haven't looked, the boys in purple, Northwestern baseball, they are 6-7 on the season. All right.
Damn.
They're right in there. They almost okay. They faced they faced Duke. Duke donkeyed them. Okay, that's not great. 20-9 in one of those. Yeah. Hey, but they bounced back, went on a nice little winning streak. All right, 6-7. That's not terrible. You know, lost a few to Louisville. But, they won one against Louisville. Huh. So
Good
they
for
will
them.
face UTSA next. They'll have a series against UTSA. Yeah. Boys in purple, let's go. All right. And the
Baby.
Iona Gales are not they're
They have
not bad.
2 wins.
They're
They
not
got 2
bad.
wins.
They're 2-11.
2-11, baby.
The
them.
2 wins come off of a series win against Navy.
Yeah, bro.
They
There's
won
them.
8-4, lost 3-12, and then won 8-7 in 10 innings.
In the
They
hunt,
fought
baby.
for that second win.
Literally them.
In the hunt, baby.
So
One
coming
could
up,
argue best team in the nation.
the Iona Gales have FDU, and then they have Holy Cross in a weekend series.
As a team, the Iona Gales are hitting 231 in total with 445 at-bats logged in. They have 137 strikeouts out of those at-bats. They're only slugging a whopping 366. Their on-base percentage is a 316. Oh, boy. And then for home run totals, here's the best part. 7 home runs on the year for the Gales. So the long ball, not really working, doing their thing. Pitching staff, their entire team total is a 9.7. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys with a 20+ ERA. The back half, the bullpen. And Carl Kinsler, Saul Mata, Tyler Lander, and Matt Zgrago, who has a 28.93 ERA.
Bro, they're them.
The Iona Gales are indeed them.
Correct.
Shout
I'm
out.
looking at their apparel.
Iona?
I'm gonna get
Some
I'm
Iona
gonna get some
Gales
gear.
apparel.
I'm gonna get some gear.
I
Gotta
feel
support the troops.
I feel like though getting back onto it with conference play starting to heat up, especially for the more of the southern half of the Power Fives, you'll start seeing a lot more of this kind of. I guess the rankings should start flip flopping here. Vanderbilt, we know, will stay pretty crisp within the top 10. Texas A&M will be excited to see if they can keep that fire. Tennessee as well. Tennessee has been playing hot. They've got 14 wins within the last month here. So the Vols are just playing out of their minds. It'll be nice to see if Duke can continue going through with them. But one team that I would really like to see kind of keep flying through the ranks that we always talk about at the end of the year, who never seems to be able to just get over that hump. I want to see how Dallas Baptist ends up doing.
Damn, I thought you were going to say East Carolina.
That too. But Dallas Baptist right now is lighting it up. Big win against Oklahoma State to close out February. They got a win over a strong Arizona team in March. Midweek or a Sunday game against Alabama, who's a tough team. That was a 7-5 win. So they got TCU coming up here tomorrow or Tuesday, March 12th. So Dallas Baptist actually has a couple big, strong midweek games against all Big 12 opponents, pretty much, which is very nice to see.
Nice big strong.
All right. So this week, We're gonna look at the Big Pimpin' Player of the Week. I got an honorable mention. Joe Oyama. He's the first animator to hit for the cycle since 1981, when UC Irvine absolutely walloped Columbia 32-2.
Put that
But
work
yeah,
in.
congratulations on hitting for the cycle. Yeah, Columbia we might need to check on them next. Stuff.
I got it.
Anyways, while he's doing that, our Big Pimp Player of the Week, he is also the SEC Player of the Week, Dakota Jordan of Mississippi State. He had 18 plate appearances, 9 hits, and 4 home runs.
Damn.
So he had quite the weekend. Well, I guess week/weekend. He had 13 RBIs. So he is definitely doing what he needs to at the plate.
So I'm looking at the Columbia Lions' good old schedule here. They're currently
Columbia
3.
Monarchs.
No, we're not doing this. We're not confusing the people. 3-7
You're not
overall. They're on a
confusing.
4-game losing streak. They're 3-0 at home. Can't find a way to win on the road. They're 0-5. And here's the best part, folks. Josh just read you that 32-2 score. Yeah, they came back on Saturday to play the good old Anteaters of UC Irvine just one more time. Did it go any better for them?
Yes.
Oh, hell no. 25-7 your final.
The Anteaters just decided to show their Anteater and just drag it across their face.
One team.
That is
57
real tough.
runs. Oh, and then it doesn't get any better because they ended up just splitting between UC Irvine and Fresno State for the whole weekend. So it went Friday, UC Irvine, Saturday, Fresno State. That was an L. That was their closest game of the weekend. That was 8-5. Then they played the doubleheader, lost 25-7, and then they come back on Sunday to play Fresno State one more time and lose 15-4.
Yeah.
So, pitching staff, what are we doing? If not that, then the defense is just atrocious.
Pitching staff. Never heard of her.
Not there for the good old Columbia Lions.
Pitcher.
Columbia Monarchs.
I'm reading it right here, bro. I can see the Columbia Lions.
You're illiterate. I'm illiterate. Let's be illiterate together and say it correctly. Columbia Monarchs.
I feel like I would much rather be illiterate and still say it correctly by saying the Lions that is currently read on the screen.
All right, so I'm gonna look at the weekend series. What do we got?
Yeah, you better do that because
Mike is gonna explode here in a hot second.
You got about 25 seconds for
Talk about midweeks. I mean, you got your regular kind of midweek games. We got Wake Forest and Coastal Carolina, though. That'll be a good watch. Wake Forest looking to bounce back against the Coastal Carolina team, who is also ranked in the top 25. Florida State in Florida. Florida State looking to maintain a perfect record.
Can they do it?
UNC Greensboro, Upset City, will be facing NC State. That'll be a good one to watch. Oral Roberts will be facing Arkansas, so if we can get some good old Oral out there,
Pause.
see what we can do.
We love
Oral.
Bonk. TCU and Dallas Baptist also in a weekend or a week game. Starting on Tuesday. Gonna be another good one to watch. And advancing to Wednesday. Some of these cities.
Is conference starting in 2 weeks? Week and a half.
For some conference started already last weekend. For the ACC, it did. Big 12 started, and then the Sun Belt Conference actually kicks off play this weekend because I'm looking at somebody's team schedule.
So kicking it off
of I was gonna say they're looking to try to come back after taking a series shlong into the face and lost the series to Northeastern. That would be
they're down but never out. All right, they're down but never out.
Monarchs.
They're them.
Hey, is Nick talking?
They're them. I'm just saying.
Is Nick talking?
I don't know. Honestly, I thought I heard some disrespect about Old Dominion, but then I remembered this is we only disrespect Texas on this podcast. That's
Correct.
what
I didn't even know Texas had a baseball team. How much they've been sucking penis.
Yeah, they're not back. Anyways, looking now at our weekend series, Duke and Clemson opening up. I believe it is ACC play. I think that starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be correct. Yes.
So ACC, the one that runs the stupidest postseason schedule of all time. Clemson and Duke will be playing each other, as well as Wake Forest and Virginia. So kicking it off hot right away. Kansas will be open up against Cincinnati, which is now fresh to the Big 12. NC State and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech actually seems like they're just out of the top 25.
Georgia Tech has
Looking
that
at
dog.
an 11-4 season, as well as their hot bats at the plate. I think that they can make a run for it, but we'll see. Again, coming into a competitive ACC conference.
Yeah, Fisherman with the 12 bombs.
Columbia is going to play East Carolina, so we'll keep an eye on the boys there.
We don't have to though.
Texas A&M in Florida, so that'll be SEC play.
Is it really going to be SEC play or is it going to be Child's play?
I don't know.
Between Texas A&M and Florida, that
LSU and Mississippi State. Mississippi State, another team just outside of the top 25 out of 12-4 season. Looking to make a play against LSU. Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, Vanderbilt, North Carolina, Miami, Missouri, Arkansas. I mean, Missouri.
Did LSU beat Xavier today?
I would figure so. They're 14-2. I don't know who they are. So look those up. Look that up real quick. Jot that down. Oklahoma playing TCU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, and Baylor. No, Ole Miss, another team outside the top 25. They're 12-5.
Are they
Baylor not outside of the top 25, 4-11
last year, right?
Who are we talking? Who?
Ole Miss did. Didn't they really struggle last year?
Yeah, Ole Miss
kind of tapered off near the end of the season. They were in the top 25 at the beginning of the year, and then because they were in the conversation. They were in the conversation.
Wait, am I thinking of Mississippi State?
No, Mississippi State.
Ole Miss won the Natty 2 years ago.
Correct.
So it was Ole Miss that
21,
and then came out like the number 1 overall seed, and then just.
Granted, that will always be kind of tainted a little bit because of the NC State stuff with COVID. Because they had Tommy White on that team before he transferred, ACC Freshman of the Year, and like they were on track to go to that championship game, and then all that stuff with COVID came out, and they weren't allowed to play. So that's still.
I was an ACC.
But yeah, those are looking at our weekend series. Kentucky also. Georgia's 16-1. Yeah, how are they not in the top 25?
Because the committee is stupid, bro. Putting Texas up there.
I think we should replace Texas and put in Georgia.
Texas shouldn't even be sniffing the top 300 schools in the nation. There should be NAIA and JUCO schools above that.
Dang.
You just
put 14 new travel teams above them.
You just keep talking there, good Old Dominion Monarchs.
That's all I do. All I do is talk about the Old Dominion Lions.
Also, I can give you a reason on why Georgia is currently not ranked in the top 25. Their biggest
is their strength of schedule.
Biggest marquee win would be against Georgia Tech for a series. Otherwise, they played Georgia Southern, Stetson, Northern Colorado for a 4-game series, Northern Kentucky, UNC Asheville, Georgia State. That's pretty much their whole schedule.
That makes sense then. So if we're starting up, SEC play and they still keep this up, then they'll see it. That makes sense with the strength of schedule early on. You never really know. That's why there's so much jostling around in the top 25.
But this Kentucky team, though, at Lexington, that should be a good series.
They're also, I was going to say, they're also a pretty competitive team as well at 13-3.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Georgia has to open up SEC play. Georgia's got Kentucky for this weekend. Coming up on the 22nd and next week, they've got Alabama ranked in the top 25. Then they've got TCU to come straight back, and that's going to be in Knoxville. So they've got away at Lexington, home versus Alabama, and then they got to go all the way to Knoxville to play Tennessee, which we all know the Vols at Nielsen Stadium are absolutely red hot. Tennessee loves to play at home. Solid ball club, and especially this year, trying to look back to getting that number 1 overall seed and hopefully not try to, choke that away.
Yes. Yeah, so it'll be a good opening up play this weekend. It's for the SEC and the ACC. Other conferences still have yet to open up.
Sun-
the PCP.
Sunbelt opens up this week.
Sunbelt
and
and Big 12. My bad. Big 12. Well,
My bad.
No.
Big 12 opened up last week.
yes.
You know who Old Dominion has to open up their good old schedule for the
They're facing
Sunbelt?
Arkansas. They're gonna take
The
the
good
undisputed number
old
one spot.
Texas Longhorns, baby.
They've got Georgia Southern. Both of you guys were so close. So very, very close.
Thank
In a
you.
midweek series against Princeton. So they get to get their asses beat by the Ivy Leaguers.
I really hope.
I hope you flip your bike over and knock your two front teeth out.
Son of a bitch. Leave me in the trench of grenades, John.
Yeah, the chance of taking grenades, John. Fantastic. But yeah, I think that's about
Is that
it
all
for
we got for today?
all
Yeah,
the.
about time for me to hurt somebody.
It's all right. We should make sure it's like justice for Old Dominion.
Yes,
I
we
don't know.
should.
Shirts.
And we should say put Texas in doghouse.
Yes.
We
I'll
should
put
ask
just
Shank-
those horns down on the back. Like just
we should ask our boys at Shank It Golf to make a specific Old
Shake
Dominion
It Golf
shirt.
justice for Old Dominion. Speaking of Shank It Golf, did you know you can use, again, shout out Cronyo Media, code Cronyo Media, all one word, at the end of your purchase on the coupon code that you can use on there. You can put that in there and you get 15 to 20% off your order, as well as anything pre-workout wise at w.com.
Yeah.
And the code is
baby.
Cronyo Media. Shout out our partners at Cronyo. They are fantastic and get us out on all platforms. So if you are on said platforms, please like and subscribe. Again, our YouTube channel, No Place Like Homaha. Again, you can go back and watch our previous episodes if you want to kind of catch up on it. A lot of it is just talking about how Texas suck and Old Dominion gets snubbed every year. Otherwise, we do have a lot of great interviews out there, everywhere from coaches, players, guys from all levels of baseball, just talking about the sport that we all love and enjoy. As we are also out on all podcasting platforms, Spotify podcasts, Apple podcasts, all that kind of stuff. So
And
again, check us out there. Follow us on there. We are out on Twitter and TikTok as well at homahapod for any updates on when new episodes are released and all that fun stuff. All right. Anything else, boys?
I hate Texas.
Old Dominion's about to get rocked by Princeton.
I really hope we come back and Old Dominion Lions drop like a 48-piece McNugget on these dudes first game.
Personally, I might just hop on the Northwestern bandwagon. Like I'm already on the Iona Gales train.
Everybody's on the Iona.
We're riding that
Come
thing.
on.
But like Northwestern might have a bag this year, you know? I mean, 6 and 7, they're coming for it, you know?
Imagine they come and they just win the whole damn thing.
Hell yeah. That's what we go for, really. I mean, like
so
we've
hard.
we've been there since day one. So yeah,
Absolutely
thank you
not.
guys for tuning in.
Absolutely not. We have not been there since day one. Don't lie.
You've been there for Old Dominion day one.
Correct.
But
I don't know who hasn't been there since day one. The dude right here at the bottom of my screen, which would be little Nick, old Nicky Nick.
I've been there day one for the good old Hook'em Horns, baby. Hey, look,
Bandwagon.
There's a hat right there.
Bandwagon since the end.
Right
Oh,
there.
that's
Right
that's
there.
Old
you
Dominion
also got an
Lions?
Ole Miss the Ole Miss hat right
I do.
there.
Wait.
And they won 2 years
That
ago,
way.
so bandwagon kind of
That
gets
one.
the match. Bud.
Confirmed.
Showers.
Confirmed. Yep. Shower.
And a Cubs.
No, make the
Huskers,
rules.
that's not bandwagon. Shout out to the Storm Lake
It is.
Whitecaps.
You don't even live in Nebraska. Bandwagon.
Got him. He did get you
Point
there.
to the right hat. There we go.
Don't even live
hard.
here anymore.
All right. Again, thank you guys for tuning in.
Valid.
We'll catch you next week.
I'm a freaking Iowan now.
Literally can't even. You know.
No.